Hey, good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I'm Pastor Joe Fox. Have you heard of this military special operations command exercise called Jade Helm that's coming to the west of our country this summer for 8 weeks? There's a lot of stuff on the internet about it, and I figured as a former soft guy, former action guy, I would give you guys the lowdown on what's going on. Now, some of you know me, some of you don't. I remember in Y2K, before Y2K, and I was just new to the internet personally. I got on some forums, and people were talking about how, the Indonesians had 10,000 soldiers hiding in the swamps of Michigan ready to strike on, January 2nd of 2000 when the system went down. And I was telling people all the reasons that was totally ridiculous, and I was accused of being like a government COINTELPRO agent or something, Where were those soldiers? They weren't there. Another whole explanation for another time. I am not saying that there are not real conspiracy theories out there, but a lot of the stuff that's out there is fog, and they get people focusing on this over here while something else goes on over here. So what's the deal on Jade Helm? First of all, I know nothing, right? I don't know anybody involved in the exercise. No one's briefed, Pastor Joe Fox on what they're going to do. I just read what's on the internet. But I have the ability to look at that with through a lens of 20 years of experience in special operations, all right? And so I'm going to tell you what's going on. First of all, it is not a martial law exercise or a martial law, they're getting ready to declare martial law at the end of September. That's when everybody says the whole system's going to come down anyway, and they're just getting in place. That is not what's happening. It's not. I know, as exciting and as sexy as that would sound, and as, you can talk in hushed tones in your living room about it. No. I just found out about this exercise, Jade Helm, a few days ago when I gathered with some old and new friends, and they asked me about it and said, have you heard about it? And I said, no, I haven't, and they told me about it a little bit that they knew, and some people expressed concern that, it was some kind of preamble to martial law or something like that. I'm like, okay, I'll go look at it. So I've had a few days to look into it, and I'm pretty sure I know what's going on. And I'm here to share it with you. So you can focus on something else. When we went, and when I say we, I mean the United States military, okay, went into Afghanistan and Iraq, there were a lot of direct action missions and special forces, and I'm talking about Army Special Forces, which is where I came from, and I know about other stuff, but I was a Green Beret, right? We basically had 5 missions, and one of those missions was direct action. And direct action is a raid, right? It's like you go in and you shoot Osama bin Laden, or you go grab this courier, that somebody found out about, and you go grab him out of his car and bring him back or whatever. Or you go blow up a factory where they're making bombs, something like that. That's a direct action, and it's like soft guys going and doing a target. Well, one of the other soft Army Special Forces missions is training guerrillas, right? So you go into a denied area, you link up with the local militia, the local partisans, and you make them better, right? You give them training, you facilitate equipment flow, you provide them intelligence, it flows through the Special Forces guys to the indige, to the people they're training, and so you make them better. Another mission similar to that is you go into a friendly country and you make their military better. So you train their military, and that's permissive or non-permissive environments, getting kind of outside of this. But here's the deal. When you're trying to train, as we were, there's all these different Afghan factions out there of the Northern Alliance, and, this warlord has 100 guys, and this warlord says he has 500, he's really got 30, and so they plop down SF guys in and amongst these different factions of warlords out there, and they say, your job is to train them, get them ready to participate in operations, we're going to go attack this city later, 3 months from now. It's a fascinating job. It's a job that United States Army Special Forces is uniquely suited for. And it takes a special mindset because it's a long-term view. You don't pop into a group of battle-hardened guerrillas and tell them, all right, you're now following me and, I'm going to make you a better soldier. It doesn't work that way. It takes time. You got to sit around, drink a lot of tea, eat a lot of bones and rice, You have to gain rapport. And then you have to slowly bring these guys along till you train them to where the U.S., government, army, whatever, can use them, all right? Now, I know a lot of you will make comments and go, "Padoo here." Just try to focus. We're going to why this is not a martial law takeover of America, right? I'm telling you about special operations missions. Here's the deal. The results are slow in unconventional warfare. It takes a long time to see anything happen. They're kind of boring. The guys that join SOF are action guys, right? I mean, they are doers. They want to get stuff done. And quite frankly, kicking down doors and shooting bad guys in the face is a sexy mission. It's fun. It's also a mission that, we plan for a day, an hour, a couple days, depending on the mission. We get in our helicopters or our gun trucks, ride in there, do the deed, come back, do your debrief, get some chow, rest. You're sleeping in a safe place, get up and do it again. Right? As opposed to, all right, I need you to go live with these guys in the woods and eat bad food and, listen to them talk about their grandma. So what started happening was there were so many targets to be serviced that the SOF guys, the Special Forces guys, Army Special Forces, started being used, whether that was because they volunteered or, just shaped that way, into the direct action type missions. And they started losing their skill sets that they had developed over decades on how to train guerrillas and work with foreign fighters out in the woods. All right? And so there was talk in the SOF community about this. We're losing our soft skills. We're getting better at kicking down doors and shooting bad guys, but we're losing our soft skills of how to establish rapport and hang out with people and guide them into, support U.S. policy. And so after these wars kind of wound down, people are like, all right, how are we gonna build these skills back up? Now, we have military bases. Some of them are huge, and you can go train on them. But one of the difficult aspects with doing this kind of unconventional warfare where, again, you're training guerrillas. So if you put it in a U.S. sense, the Chinese have invaded America. There's little militia groups all out in the woods, resisting them. And then, bam, in comes a team of Green Berets to help the militia do their job better. Okay? That kind of mission. They're over vast distances. So if you've got some, it's called an AOB, if you have a major and a sergeant major, and they're in charge of kind of coordinating several A-teams, Special Forces A-teams, man, they could be hundreds of miles away, and you've got to get them support and logistics and do communication with them, and you can't really replicate that on an Army base. That's one. Number two, because, there's a lot of people saying, yeah, they've got to interact with the human terrain. What does that mean, man? Hey, sometimes you got to blend. You don't want the whole community knowing that, 12 white guys just jumped into this mountain over here and are working with that faction over there. You have to learn how to blend in. You have to learn how to conduct operations in a low visibility manner so people don't know you're there. And this is hard to organize and to train on Army bases. And so you need vast amounts of land, you need civilians out there, you need towns, and, when they train, and again, my information's a little dated, I'm not keeping up with Special Forces, but we did this exercise at the end of the Special Forces Q course where you go into Pineland and you train guerrillas and you lead them, and it was like the culmination graduation exercise, and it's conducted in and around, the mountainous counties of North Carolina, and the civilians out there play a role because, sometimes the police chief is on the resistance side, sometimes he's not. And so you got to sneak into town, talk to the police chief, sneak out of town, and those kinds of skill sets. And, if you don't practice it, you can't do it. What's going on in Jade Helm? That. They're doing a huge exercise over vast swaths of terrain. I can tell by looking at who's playing in it some specifics that I'm not going to go into. There's some specific skill sets that are being exercised. But, the public is not in danger. They're not the pilot team, leading the way to an invasion. They are not practicing for martial law. Let me tell you something else about SOF guys, and I know a lot of SOF guys. I've known a lot over the years. Army Special Forces, Navy SEALs, the other guys. They're patriots. Now, a lot of you are starting to develop a bad taste in your mouth for patriotic American. I know where you're coming from, but these guys like you. They want to protect you. They're also gun guys. And when I say they're gun guys, they think Americans should be able to own guns. All guns. I'm talking about the operators, right? They want you to be able to have your AR-15 or your AK or whatever. And so they're not going to come take your guns. They're just not. You don't know these guys, but they're not. Are there guys in the units that would? Of course, right? But as a general group of people, they're pretty cool guys. You know, you'd like to hang out with them and talk to them. And so, you know, there are real conspiracies going on out there. This ain't one of them. This is actually good training for our guys. If I was still in the Army, I'd really want to be playing in this. I think it's going to be a great exercise. I think the civilians, mostly in Texas, who are going to get to participate in this exercise are really going to like it. I think they're going to have fun. And so, yeah, don't worry. Put your mind at rest. This is not martial law coming to America. All right. I'll see you out there.